In the small village of Ibuguma, a bus rumbled into town, its engine purring softly. As the door swung open, a wave of excitement swept through the square. Out stepped a group of corpers, young and eager, but one among them stood out. Evelyn emerged last, her beauty radiant like the morning sun. Her calm smile seemed to light up the space around her with each step she took. The bustling activity around her paused for a moment, as if the village held its breath. Villagers gathered, drawn by her grace and the peaceful aura she exuded. Even the loud chatter of the crowd quieted, replaced by whispers of admiration. Evelyn's presence was like a soothing balm, instantly calming the lively atmosphere, and the people of Ibuguma couldn't help but feel that something special had arrived in their village. In the bustling schoolyard, a small child with bright eyes and messy hair raced towards the principal's office, his feet pounding against the ground. "Sir, sir!" he called out, breathless with excitement. The principal, a kind man with a gentle smile, looked up from his papers, intrigued by the commotion. "What is it, my boy?" he asked, leaning forward in his chair. "The new corpers have arrived in town. They are at the square right now." The child's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. The principal's expression brightened. "That's wonderful news. We have been waiting for them." He thought for a moment before calling for his eldest son, who was passing by. "Baribe, come here." Baribe, tall and responsible, approached. "Yes, father. Please, go to the copper lodge and prepare it for our new guests. Make sure everything is clean and ready for their arrival," the principal instructed. "Of course, Dad," Baribe replied, eager to help. He hurried off, a sense of purpose in his stride, ready to welcome the new corpers to their town. As the corpers settled into the lodge, excitement buzzed in the air. They unpacked their bags, laughter and chatter filling the rooms. The atmosphere was lively, but one presence stood out among the group: Evelyn. Her beauty was enchanting, with a calm elegance that seemed to draw everyone in. While others busily arranged their things, a few members of Batch A and the CLO couldn't help but steal glances at her. They whispered amongst themselves, captivated by her radiant smile and gentle demeanor. As the group gathered in the common area for a welcoming meeting, the Batch A CLO, confident young man named Ubang, decided to give Evelyn special treatment. "Let's make sure everyone and Evelyn feels extra welcome," he suggested, his voice warm and inviting. The others nodded in agreement, eager to impress her. Evelyn smiled, a bit surprised but pleased by their kindness. "Thank you, this is lovely," she replied, her calm presence putting everyone at ease. As the evening went on, the group continued to fuss over her, bringing her snacks and sharing stories, all while trying to win her favor. Evelyn accepted their attention graciously, enjoying the warmth of their camaraderie, while Ubang and his friends felt a growing admiration for her, not just for her beauty, but for the way she brought everyone together. The next morning, the corpers gathered in the lodge, anticipation buzzing in the air. They were about to meet the teachers and the principal for the first time. Dressed in khaki uniforms, they made their way to the school, excitement mingling with nerves. As they entered the school compound, they were greeted by Mr. Baraba, the village teacher. He stood tall, exuding calm, wisdom, with a welcoming smile that concealed his inner turmoil. Evelyn, walking slightly ahead, caught his eyes, and his heart skipped a beat. She was as radiant as he remembered, and he struggled to maintain his composure. "Good morning, everyone," Mr. Baraba called out, his voice steady. "Welcome to Ebukuma. We are thrilled to have you here to support our community." The copper smiled and returned the greeting, Evelyn's gaze meeting Mr. Baraba for a brief moment. He felt a flutter in his chest but quickly shifted his focus to the group. "Today, we will introduce you to the rest of the teachers and share our plans for the coming months," he continued, gesturing for them to follow. As they walked, Mr. Baraba subtly positioned himself near Evelyn, eager to engage her in a conversation without revealing his feelings. "Evelyn, I hope you are finding everything to your liking so far," he asked, keeping his tone light, even as his heart raced. "It's been wonderful. Everyone has been so welcoming," she replied. A smile brightened his day. The principal soon joined them, his warm demeanor putting everyone at ease. "Let's gather in the staff room for a brief orientation," he suggested, leading the way. As they settled into the room, Mr. Baraba made sure to sit near Evelyn. He listened intently as the principal spoke, often drifted to her. He admired her ability to engage with everyone, her laughter lightening the mood, and he felt a mix of admiration and longing. Throughout the meeting, he tried to contribute with thoughtful insight, hoping to impress her with his knowledge. Yet, every time she glanced this way, he felt a rush of nerves, reminding him to stay composed. He was determined to show her the beauty of the village and the depth of its people, hoping that she would come to appreciate not just the town, but him as well. After the orientation, the corpers were led to a traditional meeting hall, where the village head awaited them. The room was filled with local artifacts, and air buzzed with anticipation. As they entered, the village head, a dignified man with a wise demeanor, stood to greet them. "Welcome, young corpers, to Ebukuma," he said, his voice strong yet warm. "We are grateful for your service and the energy you bring to our community." The corpers responded with cheerful greetings, their excitement palpable. The village head continued, "However, I must share an important warning. Beyond the village lies a sacred forest that we hold dear. You are prohibited from entering it, picking anything, or throwing anything inside. It is a place of respect and reverence for our ancestors." He looked at each corper, ensuring they understood the seriousness of his words. "Disregarding this could bring misfortune, not just to you, but to our village as well." Evelyn nodded, taking in his words with a serious expression. The other corpers murmured their understanding, feeling the weight of the village head's warning. "Respect our traditions, and you will find a warm home here," he concluded, his gaze softening. "Now, let us celebrate this new beginning together." With that, the atmosphere lightened again, and the corpers felt a sense of connection to the village and its custom, eager to learn and integrate into the community. The next day, after their acceptance letters were signed by the principal, the corpers were filled with excitement and a hint of nervousness. They gathered in the schoolyard, ready to be introduced to their different classes and students. As the principal called out names, the atmosphere buzzed with anticipation. One by one, the corpers were assigned to their classes, sharing laughter and nervous glances. When it came time for Evelyn, all eyes turned to her. "Evelyn, you have been assigned to teach the senior class," the principal announced with a smile. However, the moment he said it, he noticed the shift in the room. Whispers erupted, and the boy's eyes sparkled with mischief and admiration. Feeling the intensity of their gaze, the principal quickly reconsidered. "Actually, I think it might be best for you to teach the junior class instead," he corrected himself, a knowing smile on his face. The last thing he wanted was chaos in the senior class fueled by Evelyn's dangerous beauty. Evelyn blinked in surprise but nodded gracefully, understanding the decision. "That sounds great. Thank you," she replied, a calm demeanor easing the tension. With a chuckle, the principal assigned Mr. Barba as her supervisor, along with 2 other corpers who would join her in teaching the junior class. "Mr. Barba will guide you through the curriculum," he explained, casting a supportive glance at Evelyn. Mr. Barba felt a mix of relief and excitement at the prospect of working with her. He stepped forward, trying to maintain his composure. "Welcome to the junior class, Evelyn. I am sure you bring a lot of energy and creativity to the students." As they moved to the classroom, a ripple of chaos followed them. The junior student buzzed with curiosity, eyes wide with excitement at the thought of having a new teacher, especially one as captivating as Evelyn. The other corpers shared amused glances, knowing the classroom would be lively. Once inside the classroom, Evelyn smiled at the eager faces before her, her calm presence instantly calming the excitement. She began to introduce herself, and the room fell silent, captivated by her warmth and poise. Though the initial chaos had passed, it was clear that Evelyn's influence would bring a new spark to the junior class. Evelyn's first lesson in the junior class was met with eager anticipation. The students filed in, their chatter buzzing with excitement. As she stood in front of the classroom, she felt a mix of nerves and exhilaration, but her calm demeanor quickly took over. Without a teacher's note to guide her, Evelyn relied on her intelligence and creativity. She introduced the topic of storytelling, encouraging the students to share their favorite tales. With each story, she expertly linked the lessons to broader themes: courage, friendship, and community. Her engaging style drew the students in, making them feel valued and heard. Evelyn encouraged participation, asking questions that sparked lively conversation. She seamlessly blended fun with learning, using anecdotes and humor to keep the students focused. The classroom was filled with laughter and enthusiasm, and Evelyn's natural ability to connect with the students shone through. As the lesson progressed, Mr. Barba watched from the back, impressed by her poise and skill. He admired how effortless she captured the students' attention and fostered a welcoming environment. It was clear to him that her intelligence went beyond the surface. She had a remarkable gift for teaching. By the end of the lesson, the students were buzzing with excitement, eager to learn more. Word of Evelyn's impressive teaching spread quickly throughout the school. Teachers and students alike whispered about the new corper who had aced her first lesson without any notes, showcasing not just her beauty but her brilliance. Mr. Barba approached her afterwards, a proud smile on his face. "You did an amazing job today, Evelyn." The students were truly engaged. "Thank you, Mr. Barba," she replied, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. It was such a joy to see them excited about learning. As they talked, the bond between them grew stronger, and Mr. Barba felt even more drawn to her intelligence and warmth. Evelyn's success only solidified her place in the heart of the students and the staff, making her an integral part of the school community. In the vibrant village of Ibukuma, the atmosphere was a blend of warmth and shadows. Most of the community members were welcoming, their smiles genuine as they greeted the corpers and shared stories of village life. They offered hospitality, inviting the newcomers to local events and making them feel at home. However, beneath the surface, there were whispers of darker elements within the community. Some villagers held onto ancient traditions and superstitions, Wary of outsiders and protective of their customs, they would often cast cautious glances at newcomers, hinting at the unspoken tension that lingered in the background. Among those in the village was Mr. Baraba, the intelligent and composed teacher. He had deep ties to the community, not just as an educator, but as a chosen custodian of its traditions. The elders had decreed that he was to become the chief priest, a role steeped in responsibility and respect, but also one that bound him to the village. Despite his aspirations, he could not leave. The gods had chosen him, and his duty was to honor their will. The churches planted within the community were aware of the underlying darkness. Pastors and church leaders sensed the tension and the lurking fear among the villagers. Many knew about the ancient beliefs that coexisted with Christianity, but chose to remain silent. Their focus was on spreading the message of peace and salvation, quietly hoping to convert those who would listen while preserving their own lives. These churches prioritized their mission to spread the teaching of Christ, believing that the light of faith would eventually dispel the shadows. They respected the village customs, aiming to avoid conflict and ensure their safety, even if it meant turning a blind eye to the more sinister aspect of local beliefs. Their resolve was strong, and they continued their work, seeking to cultivate a peaceful coexistence amidst the complexities of village lives. For Mr. Baraba, the conflict between his role as a teacher and the expectations of a chief priest weighed heavily on him. He felt a deep responsibility to guide his students and the community while navigating the treacherous waters of traditions and modernity. As he moved through the village, he carried the burden of the dual role, determined to bring knowledge and understanding to the younger generation while respecting the belief that bound him to Ebukuma. A tension began to stir as whispers of a different kind echoed through the village. From the depths of the nearby river, a group of militant boys emerged, their presence sending ripples of unease throughout the community. These young men were devoted to the marine spirit, guardians of the waters, known for their fierce loyalty and fierce protection of their territory and realm. Their resurfacing was no ordinary occurrence. It was a sign that something had gone awry. One of their own, a boy named Bori, had broken the sacred laws of their underwater world by fleeing to the land, an act considered a grave betrayal. The marine spirit code was strict, forbidding any of them from abandoning their duties or venturing onto the surface without permission. Bori's transgression had not only jeopardized his own safety, but the delicate balance between their world and that of the villagers. The militants, clad in dark, flowing garments that mirrored the depth of the river, gathered at the river bank. Their eyes glinted with determination, and an air of menace surrounding them. They were not merely boys, they were warriors, trained to defend their territory. As they stood together, the leader of the group, a tall figure with an intense gaze, addressed his companions. He must bring Bori back and remind him of the consequences of his actions. He cannot be allowed to roam free among the villagers. It is time to show our strength and restore order. Their voices carried through the trees, a mix of anger and urgency. The villagers watched from a distance, feeling the weight of the threat that loomed. They knew the militant return could bring chaos, as their connection to the marine spirit lent them formidable powers. As the group prepared to march into the village, a palpable tension hung in the air. The community caught between their desire for peace and the fear of militant wrath. The resurfacing of these men was a stark reminder of the unseen forces at play, intertwining the fate of both the village and the aquatic world, setting the stage for a conflict that would challenge the harmony they had sought to build. The corpers were blissfully unaware of the brewing storm, with no one in the village bothering to brief them about the lurking dangers. They believed themselves safe in their vibrant community. It was market day, the busiest day in Ebukuma, filled with lively chatter and bustling activities as vendors set up stalls, overflowing with free produce, handmade crafts, and colorful textiles. As the corpers mingled in the square, engaging the locals and enjoying the atmosphere, the militant men approached from the river bank, their expressions teeny and focused, clad in dark garments and armed with fighting tools. They moved with a purpose that sent a ripple of unease through the market. The villagers' laughter faded as they realized the gravity of the situation. The militants spotted Boris' younger brother among the crowd, and chaos erupted. "There he is," the leader shouted, pointing with fierce determination. In an instant, the militants drew their guns and fired shots into the air, loud cracks echoing ominously through the square. The noise silenced the market. Panic ensued as people scrambled for safety, scattering in every direction. The corpers were thrown off balance, their cheerful conversation turning to screams of fear. They had never anticipated encountering such violence in the heart of the village. As the militants forced their way through the chaos, the corpers took to their heels, fleeing towards the edges of the square, their hearts racing. But amidst the chaos, the leader of the militants caught sight of Evelyn. Time seemed to slow as he locked eyes with her, and in that moment it was as if the noise around them faded away. Her beauty, calmness, and composure amidst the tumult struck him like a bolt of lightning. For a fleeting moment he hesitated, captivated by her presence, his mission momentarily forgotten. He stood transfixed, lost in the depth of her gaze, but the urgency of the task snapped him back to reality, and he shook his head, rallying his companions to continue the chase. As Evelyn and other corpers fled, her heart raced, not just from fear, but from the unexpected connection she felt in that brief encounter. The chaos around them escalated, but for the leader, a flicker of something deeper ignited. A feeling that would soon complicate the very mission he had set out to accomplish. Anthony was heavily guarded, a necessary measure due to its rich natural resources, particularly crude oil. The wealth beneath the ground had attracted attention from various factions, and the villages were a focal point of both opportunity and danger. Security was tight, the checkpoints and patrols ensuring the safety of the inhabitants and the vital drilling operations. When the chaos erupted the day before, the echoes of gunshots reverberated through the village, sending shock waves of fear among the residents. The following morning, the presence of the naval forces and mobile police was felt throughout the community. They arrived with determination, mobilizing quickly to gather intelligence about the disturbance. Their mission was clear: to restore order and protect the villagers, particularly those involved in the oil industry, whose safety was paramount. As the security forces set up a command center, the community was buzzing with anxiety. Villagers and corpers alike gathered to inquire about the situation, eager to understand what had transpired. The atmosphere was tense, and whispers of the previous day's event filled the air. With everyone on edge, Evelyn, along with her fellow corpers, stepped out into the square, curious about the commotion. As they approached the command center, they caught sight of the naval commandant, a tall figure with authoritative presence. He was overseeing the operations, his demeanor serious yet focused. The moment the commandant laid eyes on Evelyn, he felt an undeniable spark of attraction. Her beauty was striking, a beacon of light amidst the tension of the situation. Even in the chaos, she carried herself with grace and composure, drawing its gaze and commanding attention without uttering a word. As Evelyn and her fellow corpers mingled with the security personnel, The commandant found himself captivated, his thoughts drifting from his duty to unexpected connection he felt toward her. He approached her, his curiosity piqued. "I hope you all are safe," he said, his voice steady but warm. "We are here to ensure peace in the village." Her calm demeanor easing the tension. "Thank you, we appreciate your presence. It's been a chaotic morning." Their exchange was brief, but it left a lasting impression. The commandant couldn't shake the feeling that their paths were meant to cross in such tumultuous time, and he felt a growing desire to learn more about her, a yearning that would complicate the already tense atmosphere in the village. As the naval forces worked to restore order, the seed of unexpected connections and alliance began to take root amid the chaos. Evelyn was blissfully unaware of the danger that surrounded her allure, drawing the attention of three of the most dangerous men in the community. Each of them represented a distinct threat, and their growing fascination with her was a volatile mix of admiration and obsession. The leader of the militant, fiercely protective of his territory and motivated by a desire for power, saw Evelyn not just as a captivating beauty, but as a potential symbol of dominance. To him, winning her attention would elevate his status among his peers and solidify his control over both land and water. His intense attraction to her ignited the possessive instinct, leading him to consider extreme actions to claim her. Then there was Mr. Baraba, respected teacher and designated chief priest. Though his feelings for Evelyn were rooted in admiration and respect, the societal pressure of his dual role complicated things. His devotion to the village's tradition often clashed with his emotions, creating an inner conflict that could lead him to desperate measures if he felt threatened by others vying for her affection. Lastly, the naval commandant, while representing authority and order, was also susceptible to the same pool of attraction. His position made him a protector, yet his burgeoning feelings for Evelyn could cloud his judgment. The desire to keep her safe might lead him to confront the other two men, escalating tensions in an already precarious environment. Evelyn's innocent charm created an unpredictable dynamic. Each of these men, driven by their motivations, could easily become embroiled in a conflict that would endanger not only themselves, but also her. With the stakes rising, her presence in the village turned from a source of hope and connection to a potential catalyst for chaos. Unbeknown to her, the attraction she inspired in this powerful figure made her a focal point of tension, setting the stage for a struggle that could disrupt the fragile peace of Ebukuma.